All right. Hare Krishna, everybody. Let's chant Om Jnana-timirandasya. Om
Shivadasya
Jnana-timirandasya.
Nandana Palakaya Chakshurunitsamyena Shashmashi Gurule Namaha
Shri Chaitanya
Namanukrishtam
Tapitam Yena Bhutale
Bhutale
Amrupa Katamahyam Tadate Svaparantikam. Please, all spiritual masters in our line, please help us to do this Sangha for the benefit of all conditioned souls. Very well. So, welcome to everyone. And let's try to ground ourselves in this Sangha with checking in what is alive right now, the feelings and needs. Anyone would like to share? What are you feeling right now, and what's your need or needs?
First,
Yes, and your need?
I need some rest.
Right, so you are stressed and need some rest, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? That's, I would comment, that's the life. Sometimes we are stressed.
Krishna, good morning or good day, already good afternoon for you. We just had breakfast. Feeling excited. We'll have some hopefully nice Sangha in the nature today.
You. And I feel frustrated because time doesn't work under my control. So what could be my need? Need for some spaciousness and organization and planning. Better beforehand. Yeah, and I feel that immediately while connecting with my heart, with feelings and needs, it helps to kind of ground me and become more present to here and now. All right, so today is our last meeting in this series of empathic communication practice group meetings that we started in December 2021, and today is 26th of March 2022. And we have had 13 meetings, so this is our 14th meeting. And my plan was for this meeting to maybe a little bit touch the topic how to keep the focus on empathic communication skills and consciousness after this meeting series is over, and maybe to do also a little overview what we have gone through the topics of EC, because to be honest, this practice group has covered only the very basic ones, and there is so much more to discover and so much more depth to dive into. But let's review the content in this way that I invite you also to reflect back what has been inspiring for you, what kind of elements of empathic communication, what kind of topics, what has been beneficial for you, for example, or what would you have liked to dive more into. So all different aspects that you could remember and reflect right now. And I wonder if that would be maybe helpful if I would go through the topics, just the topics what we have covered within this 13 weeks. So let me try to get this screen sharing going. Okay, here it is. Here is our overview. Let me take this stuff. Yes, so we started week 49 with the first topic, which was introduction to EC. And we were talking about feelings and trying to distinguish feelings from thoughts. And thoughts, and we were looking also thoughts behind such feelings like guilt, shame, and anger, which are a little more tricky than other more pure feelings. All right, on our second meeting, our topic was evaluations, and key differentiation was distinguishing evaluations from observations, and we did some exercise about this. And there was call to reflect how we can take responsibility to make communication more personal, empathic, by making clear observations instead of our interpretations, judgments, evaluations, whatever that comes from the head. On our third meeting, the topic was freedom of choice versus dependence. And we tried to look into what's the difference. What does it mean to have freedom of choice versus dependence? And we were practicing translating I should into I choose. And then we had 2 weeks without no meetings because it was before Christmas time. And then in January we continued, and we got to topic the 4 Ds or disconnection, and we started to go through some of them, and I guess we still miss one, deserve, concept of deserve. We were looking through 3 Ds of disconnection, like diagnosis, denying of responsibility. I cannot remember the third one right now, but maybe it comes up. And we had suggested the reading about the harmful effects of first one, like diagnosis. Why is it harmful to diagnose others and to deny responsibility for our own words and actions, etc. So this was all about this. And then we did an exercise where we tried to transform the judgments into facts, feelings, and needs. In our fourth meeting, we were looking deeper into needs, and we were discovering that the roots of the feelings are actually not outside of us, but the roots of our feelings are our needs, either met or unmet. And there was an important principle we looked into, that everything that people do in the world are attempts to meet needs. And sometimes these attempts may be really poor attempts, but they're still attempts to meet needs. And if we become aware of the needs that we are trying to meet by these attempts, then it becomes possible to adjust the attempts. And there was an important differentiation to differentiate needs from strategies. And we continued with one of these 4 Ds, denial of responsibility. Our 6th meeting was about taking responsibility of our feelings, which again means about connecting feelings to our needs. And the principle there was that not caring only for our own needs only, but holding everyone's needs with equal care, which is actually the goal behind the EC, why we are, or motivation, why we are using empathic communication instead of our habitual language of judging and diagnosing and etc. And we continued exercise about differentiating the needs from strategies. And as I remember now, in this meeting, there came in also the topic celebration, to celebrate the power that we have to enrich life. And actually, this power is not completely so-called our power, but this is the power that Krishna is manifesting through us. So celebration. On our 7th meeting. If you remember, we were looking two kinds of different cultures, domination culture versus life-serving culture. And later on, we discovered that we could actually call them materialistic culture and spiritual culture. And I hope to work on this topic more further to make it really clear the distinctions between spiritual and material culture. And the principle is behind life-serving culture to be, excuse me, to be clear, what do we mean by life-serving culture? It is the culture where the connection, communication, and relationships are only in the service of life, not in the service of our selfish interests. Welcome, Madana Sundari Mataji. And we were slightly touching also the topic for options for receiving negative messages. And these 4 options are, let's call them, 2 first ones are not so healthy emotionally, but also physically. These are blaming ourselves or blaming others. And 2 others, 3rd and 4th option, belong to life-serving culture or spiritual culture. And these are these new habits that we are trying to create. When we are receiving some negative message, instead of blaming others or ourselves, we look into ourselves and we are trying to connect our own feelings and needs. And when we are connected, then we try to sense what could be others' feelings and needs that trigger them to take shelter of such a strategy to convey the negative messages. In our 8th meeting, we were having topic requesting that which would enrich life. That means 4th and last step in the empathic communication model. It's requests. And we were looking into differentiation between requests and demands. Right. So far then we had been learning about making observations without evaluations and expressing our feelings and needs without blaming others. And in this 8th meeting, we were moving to the step 4, making requests that enrich life. And we were looking through also, let me try to change it like that, or maybe like that. Yeah, we were looking at the characteristics of requests in easy terms. And these are actually quite helpful and important to try to keep in mind. That request means we are stating what we want in positive action language, in terms of clear, doable, positive, concrete action. And positive here means that we are asking what we want instead of stating what we don't want, because it's not possible to do that. Don't. Oh, excuse me. And now I see that my computer battery is running out. So let me. Oh, Krishna. Yeah, let me connect the power. Here it is. All right, excuse me for this interruption. Next characteristic of request was specific, so that it will be doable in the present. And the meaning was that when we ask very abstract things, then we leave others really in confusion and they don't know how to reply to us. And what is the characteristic that distinguishes the request from demands is that request has openness to both, to yes and no as an answer. Our 9th meeting also, so that Madan Sundara Mataji will be on board, we are reviewing shortly all the topics of our previous meetings, and we are on our 9th meeting. We started to train receiving empathically, and there was a key differentiation, empathy versus sympathy, and other blocks of empathy. And the principle we tried to follow was honesty plus empathy are the core of empathic communication. And honesty means in this context that we are expressing honestly, stating what we are feeling and needing, observing and requesting to other people. And this empathy topic continued also in our 10th meeting. We tried to practice there how to listen to other people's feelings and needs behind their words or actions. And we did an exercise from Marshall Rosenberg's book. In our 11th meeting, we switched to self-empathy because we cannot give to others what we don't have, and we need empathy or compassion in order to be empathic with others. And we were looking also into topic cultivating awareness of the energy behind our actions. What is motivating our actions? Is it guilt, shame, some outer motivations, etc.? These things. And there is very rich paragraph in Marshall Rosenberg's, not paragraph, this whole part of the chapter in Marshall Rosenberg's book, and we see language of life. In our 12th meeting, the topic was what is empathy and what is not empathy. So we had like 2 columns, if you remember, to help us really make clear what is empathy and what empathy is not. And it doesn't mean that these things that are not considered as empathy within empathic communication, that those things are wrong, but just to be able to distinguish and make clear choices. What do we use and when? And on our 13th meeting, we had appreciation topic. And we discovered that appreciation in EC is not meant for manipulation, wanting to others, to do more, to do whatever, to do better, but it is purely to celebrate our power to enrich life and enrich each other's life. And in this, with this quality, appreciation or gratitude, this works really as a nourishment for the soul and the fuel of life. And we also touched the other parts that sometimes it will be even uncomfortable maybe to receive appreciation or gratitude, because if we have a history that appreciation has been used as manipulation, then we may be careful or afraid. What do they want now? And we don't trust that kind of appreciation. And today is our 14th and last meeting. And my intention was to I will stop this screen sharing right now. And my intention was to call you to review these seminars or sessions that we have gone through, and maybe point out what stands out for you if you think about it right now. What is for you? Maybe what was most surprising discovery, or what was most useful thing, or maybe there are still some confusions that you want to go deeper or understand more. And as I mentioned in the beginning also, that these 13 sessions, this has been covering just the very, very basic of EC principles and steps. And there is so much more to deeply dive into. But yes, anybody would like to share your reflections, realizations about our time together?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, welcome.
Please accept my obeisances to all the devotees.
Obeisances.
I could start if.
Please.
Okay. If you ask what pops up in my head, then this, of course, this formula that you did this, and I'm feeling this, and etc. And demand versus request is what one of the brightest things for me. And what is empathy and what is not, it was a surprise for me. Shortly to say, but in the whole picture, it's quite Chinese for me. It feels like many tips, but it is not forming in my head as a language yet. So it's my mind is like logical thinking, and it's very hard. All these relationships and communication, it's like Chinese for me. So I think there is needed just practice, and to see people practicing it. One is if you're learning, but the other is if you see that people actually how they practice it. So it is easier to catch than maybe I think so. I don't know.
Yes. Thank you. I fully agree that like Bir Krishna Maharaj says, that in this process, practice is our best friend. Just practice, practice, practice. And as well, what has been my realization, that the role models, as you said, Matana Sundari Mataji, that to see others practicing in life, how it works, and to really like follow their footsteps, and then there is someone to really like imitate how to do all this body language and mood and everything.
It is rasa. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for your work. I admire your work and your devotion to this process and your enthusiasm. So this is what I admire and appreciate.
Jai Prabhupada. It has been my pure pleasure, and first and foremost, big help for myself. And I feel like I found a family, and I'm kind of nostalgic about this, finishing it today. So let's see what happens next.
I hope somebody else or new group will be maybe good to learn also, because you have done such a fantastic schedule already. All these weeks, these plans. Maybe you can use it again.
Thank you. Yes. All right. Anybody else would like to share? What has been, or right now, when you think what is standing out for you? Anything useful that you have found in this time that you have invested?
Hare Krishna, may I try to say a few words? First of all, please accept my gratitude. I was very grateful to you, and actually to Krishna also, that he organized these sessions just at the time when I started to look for them. Yeah, the empathic communication journey was interesting, and I hope it will continue more and more. And this topic is very dear to me because, first of all, it's dear to my spiritual master, and so I really want to pursue and continue. And I was studying psychology before also, and this topic really inspires me because it really helps, I guess, first of all, me to change myself and change the way I think, the way I look at the world and people, the way I interact with them, and then of course try and influence, or not influence, but help others to change their lives, and in this way actually contribute with, I guess, genuinely contribute to people's lives, to actually help them to change. What stood out for me as you were describing the topics, I remembered that let me see, I made some notes. Sorry, I'm going to go offline a little bit just for a second. So observation and evaluation, that was very valuable for me because it really helps to actually everything is going around. Because that's really the root cause, I thought, for a lot of misunderstandings, because we tend to evaluate and jump to conclusions very quickly. You were showing, we were all seeing how the mind jumps to things and concludes something that the person hasn't actually even meant or said or anything. So to be more on an observational platform, that's really important. Then you really stick to the facts, and then you can cool-headedly, so to speak, deal with the situation or approach the situation. And then, of course, needs and strategies. To me, it wasn't needs versus strategies. It was both that were very important, because we learn to identify that what the needs are, and then that we act in the world in such a way that basically we try and fulfill those needs, and we use strategies rather than so that really helped me, because the strategies are something that we can change, something we can adjust, and to look rather for the cause of our disappointment or happiness or whatever it is, and to focus on the needs rather than the strategy itself, and to change the strategy if it's necessary, if it's not fulfilling the need in one way or the other. That was really important. Then also, so looking within, so owning responsibility for our needs rather than blaming others, etc. That was also very, very valuable, because as we learned that the needs, unfulfilled needs within us, are actually most commonly, not most commonly, probably always the issue at hand. And so if we deal with those, then and we own our emotions, our feelings, and not blame the others, then I mean the world will be much more peaceful place. And we start with our families, with ourselves, with our own mind. I guess it's in a way, this empathic communication is a very good thing to play with our own mind, because the mind is like second person within us, right? In one way. So then we can deal with the mind in an empathic way. Requests versus demands, that was also very nice, because, and I really appreciated the fact that it's not necessarily the wording of the of how you request or how you demand, because we were shown that Prabhupada sometimes would say things that seem to be like a demand, but then they were actually a request. And so what was the actual identifier of whether it was a request or a demand was the aftermath, as they say sometimes, what follows after. So if a person is really disappointed that we haven't done something he has asked us to do, then it was more of a demand. But if it was a request, then it opens us, and this is one wonderful thing was that it opens us to actually accepting a no, which was really, really interesting. And then, of course, with that no, also we can connect further, and maybe, eventually connect deeper and deeper, and maybe the person in the end will be willing to cooperate with us in one way or the other, or not. Who knows? Right? And those are a few things for me that really stood out, and of course to know what is empathy and what is not empathy, etc. But thank you very much. It was really valuable, and I hope to employ those things in my life. I definitely do in some way. I mean, me and my wife, we certainly practice it from time to time, sometimes jokingly. Like my friend, actually, this is Madan Sundari was saying, this is like a whole new language. And my good friend Sandipani Muni Krishna Prabhu, he travels the world. You probably know him also. He came to Sweden not so long ago. And he distributes books, and he meets a lot of people. He knows many languages, at least short phrases for book distribution. And he said, in order to learn a new language, you have to be a fool. That means you have to act and play with it, and somehow just, allow yourself to be a little bit foolish, or not stupid, but foolish, just to play around, because you have to make some funny sounds and make some different things. So we play around with empathic communication. But I think sometimes in serious situations also, at least with my son, it helps me sometimes to just connect with him and just see what are the needs, what he actually wants, and how I can help him to achieve them. And obviously he can't speak, so I'm celebrating every time I'm actually able to identify what he wants and somehow or other fulfill his needs, and then he's happy and we're all happy. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Beautiful, thank you. Anybody else? This is a request, not a demand.
Lucky me.
Yes. Would you like to share something, Chanananda Prabhu?
No, that would be too bad.
That makes me really curious. So you had a need for fun right now.
Absolutely all the time.
Yes. As long as I know you, this is your great need to have need for fun. And you are very skillful at having fun in very, very interesting ways, which always or often surprise pleasantly. All right. Yes. Okay, then we maybe go to.
I can share.
Yes, please.
For me, it was quite, let's say, useful, because I have time to more understand myself and others. Before I had more, time like action, temple commander, things like this. But a lot of people, a lot of communication. But now it more to understand. Now I'm also studying Bhakti-Vaibhava and in Japa Meditation School of Naguru Maharaj. So it's quite, but still I remember all the situations, and now through the eyes of knowledge I can see maybe how somebody was wrong or I was wrong, or how, and now there is another opportunity, because sometimes you don't even know that there is some other way to behave, but now at least you know. And I like to take it little by little, step by step, so it like opens a whole new world. And I think the more we meditate on it, the more I can apply it. So yeah, I'm really thankful for this. Maybe what's most important was it's the issue of needs, feelings also, and emotions, because especially with videos, what Mataji, I don't remember what's his name, Namapriya. Yeah, she was selling these videos. It was quite it was very interesting actually, that every emotion has no, it's not something bad, even some, let's say, some bad emotion, but it's just has a meaning and has a purpose. So it was really interesting for me and very, let's say, practical. Maybe I end with this.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to hear that it has been usefully spent time. All right, then let me go to this overview that I prepared for. Let me see if I find it here. Yeah, here. Another screen sharing. Where is the screen sharing? Yes.
It's actually very interesting to find new parallels between what Maharaja say or what Srimad Bhagavatam say, and then it's also, it creates somehow more deeper understanding, because before you're seeing one picture and it was like two-dimensional, but now you put it all together and now there is like whole like third dimension, more whole world inside. So it's interesting, but it's also interesting to understand it and to sometimes be even successful in using it. So it's even more inspiring. How he was speaking, it's good to celebrate that.
Yes, I celebrate with you all. It was really pure pleasure to spend these hours on Saturday with all of you. Thank you.
Actually, I would like to ask one question.
Yes, please.
I see that my biggest obstacle to practicing it is that I don't want.
You don't want to practice?
Yeah, I see maybe it's connected to somehow with false ego, that I don't want to be empathical because myself there is not enough space or not enough, I don't know. Yeah, so what to do with it, because it remains until we are pure devotees. We can't say that maybe you need yourself empathical communication, but I don't know. If you're not pure, then you feel it all the time. Or what do you think? Have you experienced it?
So let me check if I understood your question properly. Are you asking that, are you saying that you feel that you don't want to be empathical and practice being empathic, and you wonder why?
Yeah, I have seen in situations that I remember that I could maybe, but in the situation, being in the situation, I feel that I don't want to be, I don't want to understand the other person.
So you kind of choose to not use it, even though you remembered.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
I made a note about your question, and I wonder in the next file that I plan to share, maybe some answer will come from there. Is it okay for you to watch this one first? And if it doesn't come, then we try to do something afterwards. Okay. So here is another file. How to keep your empathic communication skills and consciousness alive after training. And yeah, as a reminder that the purpose of EC is not to manipulate, not to manage others, to do more, to do in a way that I like to do things, etc., but to create connection, and connection of certain quality, connection of that quality that empowers ourselves and others, getting everyone's needs met and connecting with everyone's needs without our agenda, how things should be or should go. And I found very helpful one Marshall Rosenberg's video clip. And Marshall Rosenberg is developer of nonviolent communication, which is actually basis for EC. And Marshall is talking there about intention, that the most important thing is our intention. So it is, as I see it, it is to great extent, it's very much like introspection, being introspective, looking into myself. What is actually my motivation? And it might be a little tricky, because if we may discover that, oh, my motivation is so-called not so pure, then our judging part may jump out and say that, oh no, it's bad, it's wrong, it's this, it's that. Nobody likes to be judged, and we also don't like to be judged even by our inner judge or our inner, we call it in nonviolent communication like jackal language. We don't like to be judged also by our inner critics. So therefore, that might be one obstacle sometimes why we don't want to even look deeper, because this blockage comes in a way. But what Marshall Rosenberg speaks there about the focus, our focus when practicing empathic communication or nonviolent communication. And he also, when he prepares people like Marshall Rosenberg used to have, and right now he's the trainers of NVC are continuing some kind of trainings which are lasting 11 days in a row on the site, and there is 11 days really deep training and living every day, putting it into practice. It's called intensive nonviolent communication, intensive international trainings. And when people have been marinated in this consciousness and in this practice for 11 days, then they are training them at the end a little bit to prepare them to go back to their everyday environment. And here Marshall is calling attention to this, that when we go back to our daily lives, what we need to keep in mind. And that we need to keep in mind that this process of NVC or EC, it's nothing else than it's all about compassionate giving and receiving. And when also in our last topic, appreciation and gratitude, we were slightly touching this point that in this kind of domination culture that we mostly have been marinated, where everything is measured by money and what I'm getting and selfishness and etc. There we often may feel awkward or strange even about just simple giving and receiving without any ulterior motives. But this is the essence, or this is the motivation behind the NVC and EC. It's only about compassionate giving and receiving. And in other words, it means it's about sharing what is enjoyable to share with others and what will enrich other people's lives. Wouldn't that be a wonderful world if we would all to be being focused on that, sharing that which we consider enjoyable to share with others and to enrich others' lives. And also it's about to receive from other people what they are offering us to enrich our lives. And what is very exciting point for me is that when things are becoming stressful, then how to use empathy to hear the stress, to hear the feelings and needs behind the stress. And then it becomes a real gift. And we were mentioning also in one of our sessions about enjoying others' pain, if you remember, that it's not about to fix others or try to make them feel better, but really just to be there, to give others the gift of our full presence, to be there without trying to fix them or without trying to make them better, whatever, but just to be like a channel for this divine energy, this healing energy flowing through us. Then it is a gift that, to give to others. And another moment, coming again with this consciousness that it's all about compassionate giving and receiving. So if the person only knows how to express their pain and criticism of us, again, if we are rooted in this consciousness that this is all about compassion, giving and receiving, it's all about the needs, then we will be able to hear this one as a gift. What's going on in the background? Okay, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, when others don't know how to express themselves differently than like expressing their pain and criticism, if we will be able to stay grounded into this consciousness of compassionate flow of giving and receiving, then we will hear this as a most beautiful gift. because we will be able to hear what is behind it. We will be able to hear their feelings and needs that are alive at this particular moment. And that is the most beautiful gift we can exchange, sharing our feelings and needs and receiving others' feelings and needs. And when we are flowing in this consciousness, then solutions show up by themselves. And most likely and most often the solutions that are working for everyone involved. So the more we keep this focus in our mind, and one can put this even like a reminder in different places in your office or home to really cultivate this focus, compassionate giving and receiving. The more we are able to be in this flow, the more our practice will also come out from this consciousness. And that means the more it will flow naturally and not out of these old habits, or not so, maybe we wouldn't need so much efforts to put into it, because it is our natural being, natural state to be compassionate. We are just covered in many, many layers of programming in within the domination culture. So that's about focus. Any thoughts and questions so far? Realizations? And this file also, I will send it afterwards to our WhatsApp group, so you will all have this file as your reference. There is another part, how to prepare people for your weirdness. Maybe we could put this into quotation marks. By weirdness, it's meant here that most of the people out there are not used to this language of feelings and needs. And I remember when I was studying and then starting to use it, I was not so skillful to use yet my own daily language in context of feelings and needs. So I used this module sentences, are you feeling because you need? And I remember that my daughter, who was a teenager at that time, she said me, just stop your psychological tricks on me. So people may be not trusting immediately our motivation, why we are suddenly trying to communicate so differently than they are used to. And there are also actually the same thing that would help us out when people, for example, would reply to us while they may distrusting or being confused. How come we are sounding so strange? Then the way to respond to them is to just empathize, right? Let's say if the person would respond to our empathic guess or expressing ourselves honestly, that what's that? Talk just like a real person. What could be empathic guess for that? Anyone would like to make an empathic guess? For example, are you feeling because you like? What would be your empathic guess? Let me be the person. Talk like a real person. What is this weird thing you are doing on me? What could be my feelings and needs? Any guesses? Please.
I don't know how to say you need, but I would say I feel disturbed because you're not used to what's going on. You know?
Yeah. Yes, thank you. It's a very nice start. And because you're not used to, it's actually reflecting a need. What needs is that?
What need can be defined?
Yeah, could be need for predictability, right? because need for safety. People feel safe in the environment that they can kind of predict how things go,
Yes,
how people respond, right? Yes.
Yes.
All right. So these are the small hints. And also when people may respond to us in the language that may sound critical, you know, kind of express their pain or confusion or whatever in a judgmental language, the same way, we can simply use the same thing just to hear what's alive in them, what are their feelings and needs. And there is another suggestion, and it could be useful to explain to people why we are suddenly trying to communicate so differently, to really reveal our hearts. What is our motivation behind that we are doing that? And also, the more open we are, the more safe we help them to be in this kind of new situation. So it could be also useful to let them know that that we are open. We are not just trying to push our way of communication through, but anytime they feel uncomfortable with how we are communicating now, we very much would appreciate them to tell us about it. So we could really find way to communicate on the heart level, so that everyone's needs would be taken care of. All right, then I jump over because time again runs faster than I like it to run. There are a few tips or suggestions how to keep your empathy muscles alive and even growing. And one point is that it's really, really essential to keep your empathy batteries full at all times. And there are a few suggestions. There are like, it's important to find reliable sources for getting regular empathy. And it could be even like 5 minutes per week. It would be better than nothing. And that could be some other person whose empathic skills you trust and who agrees to be your so-called first aid empathy support when there's challenging situations and you need some empathy to be able to be present and reconnect with yourself and others. You will have agreement that you could call or get their help, or you can create a regular empathy body sangha, and I will put on the website also empathy body sangha guidelines. So everyone who wants to start empathy body sangha, that means like one-to-one connection, regular connection with some other person or with few other persons, but it's like one-to-one sessions where this giving empathy and receiving empathy is shared more or less equally. And last but not least, also journaling. It's very powerful. It's introspection, and it's very healing and connecting to keep empathy journal. And please don't be afraid that there will be too much empathy. There is never too much empathy, at least in my experience. And some more suggestions for keeping EC alive in your life. For example, review from time to time your notes from EC training. Second one, take it easy and don't push yourself too hard, because this is really deep change. It's really changes in the deep level, not only to change the habits, but change the consciousness, change how we view things, how we view the world and human beings in the world. So it requires time to integrate. So it's not the most beneficial maybe just to push all the time. So take it easy and observe the moments when you, for example, try to be a perfect ECist. And remind yourself, we don't have to be perfect. We are all work in process. And use EC only when you feel there is need for it and where you are willing to use it. Because we are anyway switching on and off in this process of learning of the EC. And include doing nothing time to your calendar. This is the best time for really absorbing and integrating the new things into our system. another suggestion, if you feel scared in some situations, try to notice your enemy images and translate those things. But I think I will not go through all of this one by one, because you can easily look at them later at home. Yeah, I want to stress, find ways to participate in some other easy practice groups. And I would like to ask for your feedback. I'm thinking to start empathy support Sangha, and I'm thinking to make it regular in every second week, Saturdays from 16 to 17:30 Swedish time. And I wanted to hear your feedback. Would you find such Sangha fitting into your schedules, time-wise and day-wise? And do you imagine right now that you could benefit from such thing? So this would be not open only for our group members, but this would be open for any devotees who have been through the empathic communication basics and would like to keep their skills alive, or really practice giving and receiving empathy in such a setting. And you don't have to respond to it right now, so you can also write me later, whatever suits you. And share empathic communication with others. The sharing and teaching others, it's the best way to learn. And just start simple. Start with very short, sharing your friends, your colleagues, whoever may be interested. Like I remember I had friends who somehow got inspired how I was communicating with their 5-year-old daughter. And then they called a group of their friends, parents, and we started, I guess it was maybe 1 year meetings, one times a month in the evenings at their home. And it was wonderful. So there, just try to be creative and find ways how to share it. And this is also my great dream, that each of you will somehow or other start to share it with others, to spread this wonderful, easy virus far and wide. Yes. Yes. All right. We are about to close up. It's 1 o'clock. So I wish you really the best, and hope you will continue using this process for creating and maintaining loving relationship, first and foremost with your own self, and also, of course, with all the parts and parcels of Krishna, whether they have 2 legs or 4 legs or no legs or many legs. And I hope that maybe these suggestions, and there is also the whole long list of key intentions while using empathic communication. It's a long material. I hope that these materials may help you on this path, and you will be inspired to keep it alive in your life in one way or in another way. And as I also wrote in this WhatsApp group a few days ago, I will transform this group from tomorrow onwards, so that it will be like, okay, there is a hand raised, please.
Yeah, before you went into all these things and to wind it up, Madam Sundari had a question.
Yes.
So before we end, I think we should try to get that answers.
Thank you. Thank you very much for helping to check. So, Madam Sundaramataji, do you still have this question alive in you?
I think I got it from the last sentence, that loving relationships, so the part and parcels of Krishna. So I think there is lack of Krishna consciousness in me. That's why I don't want to be empathic.
Right.
So still, if I'm not too devoted, but if I'm more I don't know, having I don't know, kirtana and sangha and etc., then this being empathical is more relevant and more important to me.
All right, so you are satisfied.
Okay. I don't know, but I would like to hear your opinion, Bo. I would appreciate it.
I would. I have a suggestion. Maybe are you up to hear suggestion?
Yes, of course.
That I have feeling that maybe there is some like internal conflict between your inner chooser and inner educator, and your inner educator is maybe has need for perfection, and therefore they are not in agreement, your inner chooser and inner educator. And there is wonderful inner chooser and inner educator process or dance that we can do in EC. So if you're interested about that, you just later can connect with me and we can look into it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm feeling very many times that you're throwing like pearls before the pig. So I'm feeling that I can't be enough grateful and yeah, and to show it to you, and yeah, if I'm interested, of course.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Janananda Prabhu. Once again, it's really important to track and not to lose the questions and whatever. So I'm very appreciative for that help from anybody. And I celebrate it because this is the collaboration that I'm dreaming about, and it's wonderful. Yes, Damodar Krishna Prabhu. Damodar Kripa Prabhu.
I also want to share my experience on this.
Yes,
because
please.
I had for a long time issues with health, and it really, when you cannot even think properly, you cannot even. Sometimes I couldn't even sit, because no strength to sit even. Just so much weakness that I just lay down. And in this condition, it's hard, yes, sometimes to do some simple things. Like after 1 hour, we will discuss also a health issue with disciples of Bhakti Swami Maharaj, Estonian disciples. And I really liked that. But one issue was that health is not, because Sri Prabhupada, he told that this body is like the temple of diseases. Yes, it's not. I mean, it's not extraordinary if you're a disease. It's extraordinary if you don't have some sickness. But the health is when you're happy and inspired in whatever situation you are. And that is also regarding what Majjhimana Sundari said, because after health is also sadhana, what gives us this Krishna consciousness that can be inspired and positive in every situation. And like I see, yeah, we just need to, I would say, charge ourselves more with Krishna consciousness. Not only japa, but whatever helping, sometimes just association, sometimes just, sometimes just, just be in peace all alone, or in nature, or together with somebody, or some counselor stuff, because for me, in my situation also, if not seniors, I will be already, crazy. So yeah, this is, and then when you charge, then it's very easy to be, and you want to be empathic with others, and you understand that actually it's the only way, Otherwise, it's just some violent communication, according to or towards yourself or towards others, So yeah, we think that we should charge our batteries more. At least it really works in my case. Maybe Manasuri also find it helpful.
Thank you for sharing. All right, I wanted to just as a last thing today say that this WhatsApp group will stay alive and will operate like empathy support line or easy support line, rather. So if there are, I will delete all the previous chats we have had and make it open to others to join. And anytime you may have a question, whatever celebration, whatever you want to, way you want to contribute to this support line. And when others are asking, also please, if you choose to stay in this WhatsApp group, please respond and don't expect only me to respond. So it's much more joy when we are doing it together and sharing from our different experiences and points of views. So that's it, and that's my hope that maybe some of you will stay online on this WhatsApp group, and some more wonderful devotees will join.
What did you mean when you was saying that twice per month is meetings? What gonna be there?
This empathy sangha, or empathy support sangha, as I call it, I guess. Yeah, this would be also a Zoom meeting like that, 1 to 1.5 hours. I should see how it will work. And we would, in that sangha, we would just practice empathy, hearing empathically. And there could be, for example, the people who join said that, oh, I had terrible exchange with someone this week, and I would like to replay it empathically. So we can choose to do it in different ways. We could do it like a role play. Let's say this person takes the role of this other person who expressed something critically or painfully or whatever, and I could try to offer empathy, and anybody else who is on the call and wants to practice empathy skills could also, give inputs. So it's practicing listening empathically, and while practicing this listening empathically, it actually also heals and judges our empathy batteries. So I don't expect in the beginning that we are all perfect empathizers, and it's in the beginning stage more like practicing, getting really more fluent in receiving and expressing empathy.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions, clarifications?
Maybe a request, if you could please also send this review file what was before this one.
Yes, I'll do that. And then that's it. Once again, I thank you all so much for investing your Saturdays or hour from Saturdays into participating. I guess most of you have been since the beginning, and like a really staunch members participating almost every time. So I feel deeply grateful to you, and I hope that we meet again and again. And please accept my humble obeisances and gratitude. Haribol, and all the best to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.